For decades, Africa was seen as a continent struggling with poverty, political instability, and economic crisis. But today, things are changing. Africa is no longer just a supplier of raw materials, it is becoming a major hub for business, technology, and innovation. Some of the world's richest billionaires, including Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and even Chinese investors, are pouring billions into African industries. But why? What do they see in Africa that others don't? And is this a golden opportunity for Africa? Or is history repeating itself in a different way? Let's break it down. The biggest reason billionaires are rushing to invest in Africa is growth. Some of the fastest growing economies in the world today are in Africa. Countries like Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Kenya are expanding at 5 to 8% per year, which is much faster than most of the Western nations. Africa also has the youngest population in the world, with over 60% of its people under the age of 25. This means Africa is sitting on a gold mine of human capital, a massive young and ambitious workforce that can power the future of the global economy. Additionally, urbanization is happening at a record pace. Cities like Lagos, Nairobi are transforming into international business hubs, much like how Mumbai grew in past decades. For example, Nigeria is building Eco Atlantic, a $6 billion futuristic city that aims to be African financial capital. This is attracting companies, banks, and real estate investors from across the world. But the most exciting factor is technology. Africa is skipping traditional development stages and moving straight into the digital age. Unlike countries that built banking systems over decades, Africa is leapfrogging directly into mobile banking and digital payments. Platforms like M-Pesa and Flutterwave are transforming payments just like in India. Jeff Bezos has already invested in African fintech startups because this is the future of banking happening in Africa. Now let's talk about where the money is actually going. Africa is experiencing a tech boom. Fintech companies like Flutterwave and Pisa are building an advanced financial system that does not rely on traditional banks. Even big players like Stripe and Jeff Bezos have invested in these companies because they see the future of finance shifting towards digital transactions. Africa holds 70% of the world's cobalt and lithium reserves, which are critical for electric vehicles and smartphones. Tesla, Apple, and Chinese companies are competing to control these resources. Countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo are becoming the new hotspots for mining as the world transitions to electric energy. China is investing heavily in African infra, just like it did in its own country decades ago. China has already poured over billions of dollars into building highways, railways, and ports across Africa. Meanwhile, billionaires and hedge funds are buying up African real estate, expecting price to skyrocket as cities grows. The perfect example is Eco Atlantic in Nigeria, which is designed to be the Dubai of Africa. Africa has 60% of the world's unused farmland, which means it has the potential to become the food supplier of the world. Billionaires like Bill Gates and large Indian agribusinesses are buying massive amounts of land to develop large scale farming projects. This could solve the global food shortages, but there are concerns that it might also make Africa dependent on foreign corporations. Now comes the $1 million question. Is this investment good for Africa, or is this just another form of economic colonization? There are two sides to this. On the positive side, Africa could finally rise as global economic superpower. More jobs, better education, and smart policies could help it become the next China or India. The world needs new markets, and Africa is the best place to grow industries from scratch. On the negative side, there is a risk that foreign billionaires and governments are not truly helping Africa but exploiting its resources. China has already put some African countries into a debt trap by giving them massive loans that they struggle to pay back. If Africa isn't careful, it could end up losing control of its own economy. One thing is certain, the world's richest people see Africa as the next big economic battleground. Whether this will help Africa rise or just make the rich richer, only time will tell. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Africa is on its way to becoming a global superpower? Or do you think history is repeating itself with billionaires controlling its future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more deep dive case studies.